into the elevation and the mountains of Colorado. It serves as our backdrop for this Prinx Tires USL Cup clash here in Group 2 between Colorado Springs Switchbacks and New Mexico United. Tonight's match presented by Diversis Health. Welcome inside Widener Field alongside Gary Bailey. I'm Jake Griffith, and we open our show with a look at our Group 2 standings. El Paso Locomotive, New Mexico United, and Colorado Springs all starting off on the front foot here in Group 2. New Mexico United, Colorado Springs, they clash for the second time this season. For Colorado Springs Switchbacks, they come into this off the backs of an opening round win, Gary, against Phoenix Rising.
What a good win it was away from home. Have a look at the strike that's going to come up here. Absolutely, but under control. Right foot takes a deflection though, so it's a little bit lucky, but a win away at Phoenix Rising, you'll take that every day of the week.
They sat in defensively, that goal coming in the 26th minute, and they held on for all 3 points. It was Isaiah Foster getting the goal, but our player to watch tonight, presented by Keg One Modelo, is Corey Bennett, and Gary, for good reason. 7 goals already.
7 goals and 8 league appearances, 9 in 10 if you take all comps. Yes, 5 of those are penalties, but that's given him the confidence. He's slotted all those penalties in the back of the net. When he was with Las Vegas, 17 in 37. So he scores a ton of goals, this man, and he is driving Switchbacks to success this season.
Bennett had a brace earlier this year against New Mexico United, who, after going down a goal against AV Alta, Gary, they were able to rally.
That was a good first goal. Not much you can do about that when it's hit that well. And in the back of the net there, but they came back, and that's what this team have. They have resilience, they have strength. Good build up here, great strike. That is just one touch and finish there coming from Dayon Harris, and then a header in there just to finish it off. So coming back in style, we're New Mexico United.
Well, Dayon Harris, he's been Johnny on the spot in the Prinx Tires Cup. 2 appearances in his career, 2 goals.
Hey, that's a decent return, isn't it? And he's not doing bad in the league either. Last match against Las Vegas set up a lovely assist for Osman Jabang. He's got 3 assists in total in the league. So scoring goals, creating assists, is a vital player for the team, New Mexico United.
A clash out west between New Mexico United and Colorado Springs will take us deep into the night. New Mexico United, they're unbeaten in 7 straight against Colorado Springs. Kick on the other side.
Tell me, are you ready?
Sponsored by McDivitt Law Firm. When it comes to accuracy, the News 5 weather team has it.
Hey, check this out.
He's out!
Now that's accuracy.
News 5 meteorologist Alan Rose. When you want the most reliable morning forecast, his accuracy makes all the difference.
This summer, it's time for some fresh air. Brave America's highest zip line or the world's scariest sky coaster, and ride all new clear floor gondolas. At a place for families, thrills, and adventures. Make memories that last a lifetime. Come for the bridge. Stay for the adventure. At Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
Tell me, are you ready?
The big man gets his first with Colorado Springs.
Sponsored by McDivitt Law Firm.
Prinx Tires is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Built for practical performance in the long haul, Prinx delivers reliability for everyday drivers like you. Visit PrinxTireUSA.com to learn more. Back in Colorado Springs, tonight's player walkout sponsored by Children's Hospital Colorado. Approaching kick between Switchbacks and New Mexico United, and we take a look at our starting lineups presented by Phil Long for Alan McCann. Colorado Springs making 6 changes, Gary, in this 4-3-3.
Yes, in comes Colin Shuttler in goals, Aidan Rocha starts, Tyler Maples, Tyreek McGee, Sam Williams, and Jonas Fjellberg in that 4-3-3 shape. So a much changed team for Colorado Springs.
For New Mexico United and Dennis Sanchez, they make 8 changes.
It's actually easier to tell you the players that remain from the Las Vegas game. That's Kip Keller, Nico Homalainen, and Dayon Harris. Otherwise, everybody is a change, including Chris Shakes coming back in goals.
All set to go here inside Widener Field. Dayon Harris getting the starting nod across all competitions. 5 goal contributions for number 5 in yellow. You mentioned Colin Shuttler. Shuttler, a standout college player from the University of Virginia. Abdou Ndiaye, our center referee, he sounds the whistle, and the ball is rolling here in Colorado Springs. That means we are underway in this Group 2 clash between Colorado Springs Switchbacks and New Mexico United, along with Gary Bailey, Jake Griffith, glad to have you with us. Mexico United coming out in that back 5, Gary, tonight, trying to provide a little bit more defensive stability. It's been an up and down start to the USL Championship season for Dennis Sanchez's team. 3-3-1 start, but they are coming off that win in cup play against AV Alta.
Interesting to see whether it's going to be 5 at the back or 3 with the 2 wingbacks pushed right up. It depends on how attacking he wants to be. What has surprised me is how many changes both coaches have made. I was watching the Charleston Battery match earlier this evening, and they just made a few changes, 3 in total. They wanted to put out their strongest side after a win in their opening match. Well, both these teams have won their opening match, and yet here they are making a ton of changes. So obviously the tournament is important to a point, but they're certainly using it to get a chance to see some of the fringe players.
New Mexico United, you also start thinking about that fixture congestion, because in 4 days' time they play Tampa Bay Rowdies, and they've got another match 3 days after that against Charleston Battery. 7 days after that they go on the road to take on Hartford Athletic. Dennis Sanchez did say that he expected there would be a little bit of lineup rotation coming in.
Did he say a little bit?
A little bit and 8 changes. A little bit of a difference there, of course, but every coach has such a different philosophy on the mid-season competitions, because you obviously do want to prioritize your league contests as well. It is Colorado Springs on the move, trying to ask some questions. Ball thumped over the top. It's Aidan Rocha trying to run this down on the near side. Can't get to it in time, and out it goes for a Chris Shakes goal clearance.
He's claiming a touch off the defender's head, but not given by the assistant ref. But yeah, back to those changes. The feeling seems to be if you lost your opening match, then you change everything, because the chances are you're not going to make it. You've only got 4 games in which to make it. You've really got to win all 4 or win 3 and maybe get a draw. But both these teams won their opening games, so you would have thought they would have gone for their strongest lineups, but maybe they had the strength in depth where these lineups are still very good, even with all these changes.
Wilkerson gave it up out wide over to Nava, able to win a whistle, and this will be a free kick for New Mexico United. LaCroix a bit worse for wear there, wearing the captain's armband after this challenge.
He pulls down Christian Nava, had some good feet skills there, and I'm not quite sure where the injury came from. Probably more to pride than anything else for the captain.
A big week for Duke Lacroix, was named to the Haitian World Cup roster, one of just 2 players in USL Championship history to be active players and make a World Cup roster. Sofiane Jafal hovering over this, the former DC United man. Let's have Dayon Harris flanking him, who will shadow over top of this ball. Harris backing off. It will be Jafal. Whips this in. Blocked away, though.
Seems a waste of an opportunity there for New Mexico United to get a ball into the box and at least get an early test of that Colorado Springs defense.
New Mexico United in league play, coming off a win against El Paso Locomotive. Dennis Sanchez, he said that one thing that stood out to him from that match, and he was very reflective on his whole coaching career. He said that every team he's worked with, it's a process, it takes a little bit of time to play out, but he feels like his team is starting to find a little bit of their identity. Here's Rocha again on the ball, trying to get past that outside defender, and does. Rocha playing it into a crowd, edge of the area, and knocked away by New Mexico United. Turned over though, Fjellberg and company trying to counter, knocked ahead. Here's Rocha underneath it. Rocha surveying, plays this centrally. It's McGee now with it, looking for that switching ball out wide. Left it a bit short though. Path of Will Seymour, captaining this New Mexico United side, connecting with Dayon Harris. One thing that Dennis Sanchez said after that win against El Paso, he was disappointed they were only up 2-1. Thought they controlled the first half, and control at least for the moment right now, as Gloucester will give it up. Movement here for New Mexico United. It's Harris. Once that cross, plays it towards Shuttler, who will sprawl on top of it. And we look at tonight's injury report presented by Common Spirit Health for Colorado Springs. A couple of key injuries. Perez, Foster, who picked up a knock in the last contest. Echeverria still out, none reported for New Mexico United. Switchbacks will go forward with this one. They wanted Fjellberg, took a deflection there. Gloucester able to knock it away, and it's into the possession of Chris Shakes, the former Big Ten goalkeeper of the year at Penn State.
He's got an interesting battle for the #1 jersey. Raiko Rosarina played the last match, and Rosarina has been absolutely fabulous over the last few years with Las Vegas Lights. So I think it's going to be a difficult battle. Almost two goalkeepers good enough to be the #1s battling it out for the right to hold that jersey.
Lansing header forward, able to spring Wilkerson free. Falls back to him. Seeking Sufjan Jafal, and quickly cleaned up there by McGee. You go back to that goalkeeper unit though for New Mexico United, and Dennis Sanchez, he talked extensively about that. And he said one of the reasons they brought Arozarena in, former Phoenix Rising man, was they want that internal competition in goal, what you're talking about, that battle for the #1 spot.
I think every player benefits from being pushed, and sometimes goalkeepers, if your #2 goalkeeper's not that good, it's a comfy position.
Early ball in here. Hanya able to catch up to it. Yosuke Hanya puts it in front. It's turned aside. Still working on it though is Hanya, and ultimately a whistle will sound.
It's a good switch of play here. Lovely ball across to Hanya. And he just gets his head up, looks for opportunities. Will Seymour's trying to stop him, and at the near post there, Kip Keller does really well to stop this from actually going in to the box. Have a look, he just gets across there because Shakes might have got to it. Difficult to tell for certain, and Kip Keller playing safe.
Hanya, a player that Alan McCann highlighted in our conversation with Colorado Springs manager earlier in the week, and he talked about last year for Hanya coming over from Colorado Rapids, had that hamstring injury, felt like it really stunted his progression and his start with Switchbacks, but now he's fully healthy. They're getting that full output they want from him. You go back to their Open Cup fixture against Colorado Rapids, he was flying all around, created a lot of problems for the MLS side.
Oh, they've had some great Open Cup games. That one against Sporting Kansas City, they won 3-0. Absolutely top class. In fact, it's been a wonderful month of April for Colorado Springs. I'll tell you more. Oh, got it away. I was about to stop there because it looked like it was a through ball. They drew against Colorado Rapids away and only lost on penalties. And they were so good, Alan McCann got the Coach of the Month award. So congrats to him.
There's a whistle for a foul against Kip Keller, former Minnesota United man. Ultimately signed on a permanent basis with New Mexico United in the offseason, but he first got ingratiated with this New Mexico United organization. He was sent on a loan by the MLS side, 9 appearances, 1 goal. Tanya again operating out wide, looking to split 2. There's a second ball on the pitch as well. And there is.
The referee was trying to say to Will Seymour, kick it off the pitch. He didn't, so eventually the ref had to blow.
We saw this in the Orange County match a couple weeks ago.
That was for a different reason.
Yeah, it was.
That was when the goalkeeper threw it in to stop a last-minute counter-attack, Spiegel, and he got sent off. That's probably just thrown from the crowd, one would assume.
Soccer is already a difficult sport enough with 1 ball. I couldn't imagine how hard it would be to have to deal with 2 of them out there. Swung forward, trying to pick out that man streaking in toward goal. The offside flag, though, coming up, and Christian Nava unable to stay on the right side of that restraining line.
Well, they were just trying the direct route there over the top, and you've got to time your run perfectly to make that work. It's going to be interesting because when you make that many changes, 6 for one side, 8 for the other, it takes a while for the players to sort of figure out who's exactly where, who comes short for the ball, who goes long. So I think we'll have a period of sort of settling in here for the first 15, 20 minutes, and then the players should get the hang of it.
New Mexico United will have the throw in over on that far touchline. Of those changes, Niall Reed-Stephen not in the starting 11, no Greg Hurst in the starting 11, no Usman Jabang. Some of the familiar faces that we traditionally see for New Mexico United. And Niall Reed-Stephen, he's really been a huge part of some of the early season success for New Mexico United. Comes over from South Georgia Tormenta. It's an all-league first-team selection a season ago, 16 goals, all competitions. Meanwhile, here's Hanya flinging it forward toward goal. Turned away again defensively by New Mexico United.
There's a couple of other well-known names that were not starting. Valentin Noel being one of those. Jake Locava, who's been playing at right back.
Fjeldberg able to come up with a midfield interception. It's turned right back over, though, by Colorado Springs.
And I think that's true for Colorado Springs as well. They got a bunch of players. Matt Mahoney's on the bench, Frank DeRomo, Juan Tejada, Sadam Masareka, Christian Herrera, the normal starting keeper, Patrick Burner. So both sides they've got so many star players, or regular starters, should I say, on their bench that we could see a lot of changes in the second half if one team needs to chase the game.
Able to tightrope that touchline, trying to peel it back over toward Will Seymour. Nearly turned it over. Now it is turned over. Now we do get a whistle for a stoppage as Abdou DA will sound the whistle. This free kick scoring opportunity brought to you by Underline, delivering gigabit fiber internet, underline.com/COS.
Tariq McGee had a wonderful golazo in the final moments to draw in the previous match that they had. And what a goal that was at home to Orange County from the 96th minute. So let's just see what he can do here. Maybe he's got a couple more of those in store for us tonight.
Kicking off McGee, he'll swing it over toward the near post. Protests come in from Colorado Springs saying that glanced off of New Mexico. Official disagrees.
Let's have a look at it again a little bit more closely. Maybe it got a touch off both. I think that's what they're saying. So Will Seymour got the touch, and then it came off a Colorado Springs player, so a goal kick it is.
Turn to the CBS Sports Network on May 23rd for a USL Championship Northeastern Showdown. Rhode Island FC hosts newcomer Brooklyn FC at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Catch all the action on the CBS Sports Network Saturday, May 23rd. Should be a pretty fun matchup there between Brooklyn and Rhode Island. Rhode Island just a few years removed from their romp to the championship game. Of course, Brooklyn, a newcomer to USL Championship.
There's the two gritty sides. I think it's a nice way of putting it. There's going to be a real battle between them.
Well, any Marlon LeBlanc coach team, you know one thing. They're going to fight hard to try to get a result.
And Rhode Island are a good side. I mean, I know that today they struggled in the Prinx Cup, but if you go back to only a few weeks ago, they beat Charleston Battery 4-0 at home. Absolutely thumped them in the second half. J.J. Williams getting a couple. So Rhode Island, a very decent team.
They're trying to spring switchbacks free. Competed a bit there. Saw the jersey tug from Will Seymour, and an early yellow is going to come out of the pocket of our center referee.
I'm assuming that's a sort of a gathering of misdemeanors, because it's a bit of a tug there, but that on its own is not worthy of a yellow card, you wouldn't think. But he has been called up a few times by the ref already.
A yellow card has been issued to Will Seymour for New Mexico United. This caution sponsored by Diversus Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Play back underway off that stoppage for the card. McGee trying to work it forward and does. Out wide with it, Switchbacks will play it in front. Sprawling on top of it is Shakes.
Chris Shakes nice and brave there, because when that drops loose, you're likely to get your head kicked off. As you see, it's just there. You've got to go for it, and so is the attacker who just pulls out there, Hoskahanya. But nice, brave goalkeeping from Chris Shakes as he battles to hold on to that #1 spot at New Mexico United.
New Mexico United early on, over 15 minutes in, they've had 56% of the possession, but it's been Colorado Springs who have had some more of the dangerous opportunities. Already 2 touches in the New Mexico United penalty area, as New Mexico will get things back going off the free kick. Now they'll try to track this one down. Lacroix tight in defense. Short clearance hacked away by Switchbacks, and now it's on to Hanya. Hanya nearly coughs it up. There is a whistle for a stoppage. And a sigh of relief Alan McCann can breathe. Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Colorado Springs Switchback side, they come in off a match against Orange County, a 2-2 draw. Alan McCann, he said this week that they're happy with the single point, of course, but it felt like it was a really frustrating fixture. They aren't giving up a high volume of chances this season to the opposition, but where it's been most frustrating is despite that low volume of chances conceded, teams are scoring off of those at a very high clip. It was a trend that continued through against Orange County in that draw. Rocha trying to put this back in front and does. The layoff over to Fjeldberg. Shot is blocked. Now played back in toward goal, headed away. It'll fall into the path of Dayon Harris. Turned over, McGee picking it up. He'll roll it forward. Lay off back to Brennan Creek, calling for support. It's Hanya, helped along. Over to Fjeldberg, into the path of Rocha. Rocha's cut back. Ultimately cleared away by New Mexico United. One thing both these coaches did agree on was that emergency defending would be a massive piece of tonight's contest. And New Mexico early on, they've been under some duress, had to rely on some of that defending to come up big.
It's never easy coming to Colorado Springs. Altitude alone is going to test you, never mind how good this team is under Alan McCann.
Creek going to ground, able to win that back. Now rolled in behind, it's deflected out, and it will be a corner for Colorado Springs.
Good pressure coming from Duke Lacroix. McGee's been very sharp. Creek gets stuck in there and wins that. They've been looked very, very sharp all around early on, have Colorado Springs.
This corner kick brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, that's what I like. Switchbacks, they've already scored in USL Championship play off of 3 corners in 2026. Had a corner goal to their credit in the US Open Cup. A corner goal to their credit in the Prinx Tires Cup. A dangerous set-piece team this Switchback side is.
Referee having a word with Rocha there, he's trying to pin Chris Shakes there. And I think refs is saying you've got to give the goalkeeper some space. You can't stand right on top of him, which he's trying to do with his arms up in the air.
They go the short route, top of the 18. McGee will float this near post. Going up for it is Shakes and making the grab. A lot of chaos around Chris Shakes.
He gets pushed, Aiden Rocha. He gets pushed and it's very clear, but he's backing into the goalkeeper. So I think before you give a free kick against the keeper, you give one against Aiden Rocha there for just getting in the way, obstructing the goalkeeper's movements. He is entitled to stand there to some degree, but he also can't block the keeper. There's the sort of grey area that Arsenal have used to their advantage in the Premier League this season. As a goalkeeper, you've got to be allowed to go for the ball. You can't be blocked in by attackers clearly standing in your line, but at the same time, the attackers do have a right to stand somewhere in that 6-yard box.
As a Crystal Palace fan, since we are so far down the table, I won't say anything about Arsenal. I'm just happy that Palace are in the Conference League final.
I'm happy for you too.
Well, thank you. Gloucester trying to roll it laterally and does. Over to Harris, dodges one, now a second. Giving up to Vargas, wanted to link back up with Dayon Harris. And once again, that low block of Switchbacks holds firm. There's Corey Bennett now, ever so dangerous with the ball at his feet. Shuffles wide at the end line. Bennett going down, it's knocked out, and it will be a corner for Switchbacks.
That's a good tackle coming in there from Kip Keller, and he had to get that 100% right, other that was going to be a penalty. But that's what Corey Bennett does. He asks questions of you, and yes, in this case, Kip Keller comes up with the answer, but you're not always going to do it, and that's the strength of Corey Bennett, his pace, his ability to take on players in the box.
This corner kick brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, that's what I like. And Alan McCann liking the fact that his team early on is starting to pile up the corners. This is the second corner inside the last 7 or so minutes for Switchbacks. Williams in swinging, ball headed toward goal, but wide and out.
It's another push on Aiden Rocha. It's another push. And again, it could have been a penalty, but is he obstructing the goalkeeper in the process? And that's what New Mexico players are saying. And it's something the referee is going to have to get a hold of this, Abdu and Jai. Have a look at the goal. Well, you can't see in this movement here, but the goalkeeper's pushed and then he falls over Aiden Rocha. Now have a look. There's the push. And he did exactly that the previous time. And Rocha's saying, well, come on, you can't just do that, which is true. And then he's standing on the goalkeeper, which is obstruction to some extent. So it's getting really gritty here in this USL Cup match.
No cards doled out during that.
I do think someone has to have a word with Chris Shakes and say, you can't do that. You might just give away a penalty. Keep your hands off the player. Let the referee sort it out. If you have to go around the player, so be it.
You never want to concede a penalty to anybody, but this Colorado Springs Switchbacks team, arguably the most dangerous from the penalty spot in all of USL Championship, and even 5 for 5 this season. It's turned over, counter quickly here, it's McGee! Whittles that one wide, and it's out for a goal kick.
McGee is such a good striker of the ball, as we saw in the last match when he hit that absolute golazo against Orange County. Well cut out on that left foot of his. Just pulls it a little bit wide. But he's going to be a dangerous player as far as New Mexico are concerned. They can't allow him too much space on the edge of that box. And there's a bit of history between these two with penalties. When they met earlier in the season, there were 2 penalties for Colorado Springs. Corey Bennett scored them both that day. Still lost 3-2 though. Dayon Harris getting one of the goals that saw victory for New Mexico United.
Mexico United, as of late, unbeaten across 7 consecutive against this Switchbacks FC side, and they've had some success even more recently here on the road, winners of back-to-back contests.
Yeah, that's interesting that their history, they're more successful away at Colorado Springs than probably any other team is. I mean, normally you come here and you really battle to get results at this altitude, but New Mexico have a fantastic record here.
Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice.
This is going to be, you would think this is going to be a tight match because both these teams are in form. You mentioned some of the recent matches, but Colorado Springs unbeaten in the last 8, although 5 of those were draws. New Mexico, 3 wins and a draw in their last 5. So both these teams have found decent form, and I think if you're looking at the West, you've got to fancy both these sides to be comfortably in the playoffs come end of season.
Shakes will track that one down, top of the area for New Mexico United. The lone loss during New Mexico United's recent 5 matches, all competitions, that coming against Phoenix Rising, but unbeaten in 3 consecutive coming into this. 2 of those last 3 have been in the win column for New Mexico United, trending in that right direction after what was a bit of a shaky, frantic start to the campaign. Fjeldberg able to come up with that ball again, trying to play it back top of the area. So far, Colorado Springs, they've had acres of space to move on these wide flanks. Now this ball in behind the flag is going to come up as Justin Rennicks in an offside position.
There's a couple of times now, last 10 minutes they've been caught offside. They've got to time those runs right, and Justin Rennicks as the number 9 has got to be aware of where the centre backs are and make sure that he stays onside when the ball is kicked. They haven't had a lot to build on New Mexico, so you can't afford to be getting caught offside in these situations.
For Fjeldberg going forward. Back in behind, thumped clear. That one will go sailing toward the boundary line, and that is where Switchbacks will pick things up again. Sunbelt Rentals, local hustle, national muscle. So far, there's been a lot of hustle for both these teams. Defenders having to cover a lot of ground. It has been, despite some of the physicality in the stoppages, an up and down, back and forth kind of contest.
It has, but I think it's been mostly Colorado Springs doing the creative work around the box and causing more problems, but certainly you can see that when New Mexico get on the ball, they could be really dangerous.
One thing that this New Mexico United team, they do love to do, they want to try to draw you in, attract you in, build out from the back, then try to break you going forward. That makes it all more important tonight for Alan McCann's team to have that coverage in behind. But at the same time, early on at least, we're not seeing Colorado Springs bite on some of that tactic.
And also, it's not easy to use that tactic when you make that many changes. It's a tactic that, you know, they're sort of playing through the high press. You need to know where everybody is so you can get the ball to them. When you make that many changes that New Mexico have made, 8 changes, it takes a while to figure out exactly how to break the press. And conversely, if you're a pressing side, which you can see Colorado Springs getting up here, again, you're not quite sure who to go to because you've made 6 changes in your lineup as well.
On the turn, Harris, his ball forward, does take a deflection. Switchbacks just trying to settle that ball down. Creek finally will. Brennan Creek signed initially with this team a season ago, a 25-day contract in June of last year, was extended in August, ultimately brought on. He has been such an important piece of this midfield this season for this Colorado Springs Switchbacks team. A real box-to-box type of guy, the type of guy that's going to put the run and the work in to get back behind. But then don't be shocked if you see him pushing high into the attack and creating for Alan McCann.
He's been very impressive. Got a nice goal against Rapids in that 2-2 draw.
Out comes Shakes, just at the last moment, able to corral that ball in. Fall's pass cut out. It deflects back into the possession of Brennan Creek. And now Creek run down right along that touchline.
There's a little bit of afters there, and this match is certainly getting chippy. And the referee might have to step in and have a word here and there. Some games have a certain rivalry that sticks, and this game is one of those.
Fighting through would-be challenges. McGee now looking to spring Switchbacks free. He'll roll this forward. Space here for Fjellberg, put in front, and it's in! An unfortunate deflection for New Mexico United into their own net, and Switchbacks are out in front 1-0.
Nothing that Chris Chase can do about that when it comes to an own goal, but that comes from pressure. There were two players in the box waiting for that ball from Fjellberg. Defenders knew exactly what was happening there. They knew they were in danger. He starts it all off. Tyreek McGee, absolutely brilliant in how he turns this into an attack. But look at those black shirts waiting, and it just tempts the defender to think, I've got to get on the end of this, because if it gets past me, they're almost certainly going to score. Unlucky in many ways, but well done Fjellberg, and well done Tyreek McGee for turning that into such a good attacking opportunity.
An own goal officially charged to Kip Keller and New Mexico United. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, they have the goal that they have so desperately sought. It's been a match early on that's been controlled by the home side, and they have the score line to reflect it.
And that's always the case, I feel, with teams who are on the offensive. You get the lucky breaks, you get the own goals, the penalties, deflected shots. Because you're on the front foot, you're the one taking the shots, you're the one getting the ball in the opponent's area. And sometimes you get a little bit of a lucky reward for that. That's a lucky reward for Colorado Springs, but well deserved.
And that Switchbacks FC goal presented by Gold Hill. Gold Hill, the best address. Now it's left New Mexico United searching for the equalizer. Played all the way back. Been some frantic moments here for New Mexico United on both sides of the ball. Mentioned at the top of this broadcast the amount of changes that they made in their lineup, and it still has that feeling like they are just trying to settle in and learn each other, even though we are past the half-hour mark gone.
And with that many changes, it does take a while to set in. Joske Hanya, they're just causing a few problems. And Will Seymour not happy about it. The referee just giving that signal that says no more, any more from you, and you'll end up in the book. So he knows now to stay out of trouble, Joske Hanya.
Alan McCann coming into this contest, he was pretty adamant in terms of their week at training, other than the recent injury to Isaiah Foster and the already known Steven Echeverria injury. Said everyone else was at full fitness, and he just loved the rhythm, the routine they were in this week. Had a lot of energy, and that's carried over here into the first half hour plus of this contest. Harris now. Left back off for Gloucester, trying to feed it back over to Dayon Harris. One thing that has hampered New Mexico United's ability to get in this contest or get back in this contest is Fieldberg will play it up ahead. It's Hanya and behind! Switchbacks at the double, courtesy of Yosuke Hanya. 2-0.
That's a lovely finish from Yosuke Hanya. The pace to get away from the defender with the power and the strike as well gives Chris Shakes no chance whatsoever. But Fjellberg's little ball here, it's well weighted, but it's that little pace that keeps him away from Kip Keller. And then the finish, whack, he absolutely buries that one past Chris Shakes. Lovely move, all starting coming out of defense. I think it was Brendan Creek who started that, but playing so well in transition, Colorado Springs.
The second goal of the season for Hanya in USL competitions, be it regular season and now Prinx Tires Cup. That Switchbacks FC goal presented by Gold Hill. Gold Hill, the best address. Well, if you feel like you just heard that, you did. Just minutes apart, Colorado Springs have taken a 0-0 contest into a 2-0 lead, and they are cruising at home. And to your point a moment ago, Gary, it's been so far transition has been their biggest help.
Yeah, they're very, very quick. Tyreek McGee in particular has turned around defenders and got balls going in the forward direction. There's been lots of space to work into.
Now it's New Mexico United starting to ask some questions. Here's Vargas. He'll play it into the path of Dayon Harris. Sidesteps one. Harris, it's deflected. Then going for the same ball. A tie-up ensues, and now we get a whistle. Abdu Njai will race over and try to pull those bodies apart.
Lots of complaints. Aidan Roach on the ground is complaining that he got held, he got stuck in there. This is going to continue to be a gritty match between two teams who are both battlers, but there was an advantage played there. And then this one here, they get up and they're both sort of tripping over each other. It's hard to pick who's more at fault. They both got hands on each other. Good luck, referee.
You usually know what you get when Colorado Springs and New Mexico United lock horns. You get physicality. You get two teams that have a respectful rivalry amongst each other in the Western Conference. And this one is delivered so far. Pushed ahead by Jafal into a crowd. Nodded away. Now Nava off the half volley. Falls right back to him. Back on the move at Switchbacks. They have the numbers if they move quickly. Hanya over to McGee. Early ball ahead, looking for Fjellberg. Out came Shakes. It was knocked away from him. Bennett to Hanya, one of two goal scorers. Official says no foul. McGee parried away.
Great pressure coming from the home side. Shakes had to make a decent save there, but in fact, two decent saves. Yeah, the early ball was a good choice. It's just a little bit too close to the keeper. Fjellberg was waiting for it. Shakes drops it, and then Corey Bennett very cleverly comes back here. And there again, a free kick, but they allow advantage to go. And Tyreek McGee has got such a good left foot.
Where the New Mexico United offense has lagged so far in this first half, Colorado Springs has picked up the slack. It's already 5 shots, 2 on target. This injury stoppage presented by Common Spirit Health. Yosuke Hanya, he had gone down. He's back to his feet. You see him there, standing right next to Brennan Creek, having a chat with Abdu Njai.
It seems like the referee is calling for the medics to come onto the pitch to help Yosuke Hanya. And now he's telling Hanya to get off the pitch to receive treatment.
Hanya will make his way over toward that boundary line. Had a goal moments ago in the 34th minute. It's goals 3 minutes apart. An own goal against New Mexico United, and then Yosuke Hanya doubling the tally for Colorado Springs. Alan McCann, when he had a chance to talk about Hanya in the midweek, he really lit up, honestly, talking about how, not just as a player, but how great of a guy he is, what he's brought to the locker room. Said that he's a fantastic piece inside the building, and they really feel like these last 3, 4, 5 matches coming into this, that he's putting together a really solid body of work. That trend obviously carrying over to tonight. Mexico United trying to find that switching pass over to Nava on the right. Nava fighting his way through. Now Nava, official says play on again. Abdu Njai, he is happy to let these guys play it out. We've seen a couple collisions in and around the area. Soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. A lot of great venues around USL Championship and League One. Those being Forward Madison, who were in action earlier today. This is a great venue here at Widener Field, not a bad seat in the house.
It's a lovely place to watch. It's got a great vibe here, and they do so well at home, partly because they're a fantastic team. Colorado Springs always have and still are, but also the altitude makes it difficult. So if you're a fan, you're often treated to some really good football here and some good wins, and this is the way this match seems to be going at this stage for the home fans.
Sunbelt Rentals, local hustle, national muscle. This attack of Colorado Springs has shown some real muscle behind it here in this first half.
It certainly has, but there's a second half still to come for New Mexico United, and again on the bench, Valentin Noel, Niall Reed-Stevens at top, goal scorer Usman Jaban, Greg Hurst.
Racing in behind, this ball over the top, picking out Fjellberg. It's Fjellberg! Whips it wide and off the side netting and out.
Just wonder there was a chance to square that ball. Alan McCann having a few words as well. Does so well to get into that position, Fjellberg, but he had options in the box and his angle was getting worse, and in the end he sort of fell over as he hit the ball. Because again, if you get a chance to go 3-0 up against the side, you've got to take it, because as we're just going through some of the players they have on the bench, they can bring on some real quality if they want later on in this match, and they get one back. It's going to be a battle for Colorado Springs. So while they have the upper hand, got to take every chance that comes their way.
Well, a couple of those guys not in the starting 11 for New Mexico United. We talked about Greg Hurst, Luther Archimede as well, and you go back. It's been a few weeks, but you go back to the first meeting of the season in USL Championship play between these teams, and the way they were able to use those two guys at the top of their press to deny passing lanes to Colorado Springs when building out. You can tell, it's obvious that they're missing those guys on the pitch right now.
I mean, whenever you leave out some of your top players, your team changes, but the same for Colorado Springs. They brought a lot of what you might call fringe players in to have them a run out, but both teams have depth. I just feel that Colorado Springs seem to have more depth at the moment, and they have a team out there with Tyreek McGee, who's getting back to fitness, that is still looking absolutely fantastic, even with the changes they've made.
Speculative ball goes sailing long and out of play, and it will be a throw in for New Mexico United.
As we come up to halftime, Dennis Sanchez, he's got a lot of work to do to get this team fired up and controlling the forward motion of Colorado Springs.
Over to Hanya, has a go from distance, and it's parried away again. An emergency clearance pushed out by New Mexico United. It'll be a throw for Switchbacks.
Wow, another chance, another good move. Yosker Hanya's been in the center of a lot of what's happened here. Once again, Chris Shakes had to make a really good save. But Dennis Sanchez, you can just see him there guiding his team, but he's been so successful in Las Vegas, getting to a Western Conference final. New Mexico last year reaching the final, but unfortunately they lost to FC Tulsa. Fantastic coach, and he's going to be tested here as to what he can do at halftime and what changes he can make in the second half to try and get back into this match.
Sanchez, Coach of the Year finalist in 2024. Here's McGee loading up and unleashes. The follow-up is in! It's that man, Jonas Fjellberg, getting a goal of his own. 3-0 for Switchbacks. They're in dreamland at home.
He deserves that, Jonas Fjellberg. He's been on the front foot. He's had a few little half chances that he hasn't buried, but that one he tucks away. And Chris Shakes has been so busy. He's made a ton of saves. He's also picked the ball out the back of the net 3 times, and there's another save he had to make. And that one just hit above him. Comes off the top of Fjellberg's foot. There's not much Shakes can do because he's pushed it away from danger, and still Fjellberg's been able to find the back of the net from that angle. And they are really on fire, Colorado Springs Switchbacks. And if Dennis Sanchez had a big job a moment or two ago, he's got an even bigger one now at 3-0 down.
The Trailheads are fired up for this Switchbacks goal presented by Gold Hill. Gold Hill, the best address. Officially 2 minutes of first half stoppage time presented by TikTok Shop. New Mexico United right now hoping that clock continues to tick and talk down to the end of this first 45 minutes. It has been all Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Alan McCann, he had said earlier in the week that when looking back at the last time they faced New Mexico United, every time there was a bit of adversity, every time New Mexico United had a bit of a burst of momentum, they just went away from their principles and allowed New Mexico United to make them pay. They wanted to try to make New Mexico United be the team that had to pay, and so far, they are. There's Creek carrying along. He'll hit Fjellberg on the move. Now back over to McGee. Hanya, the second of now 3 goals, puts his shoulder down, rounds the corner. Hanya puts it in front. It's deflected and hacked clear by Vargas. Not a deep enough clearance. New Mexico just can't clear these lines right now. Hanya, the interior channel. It's Bennett. Out comes Shakes. Makes another stop. The drum beats on for this Colorado Springs attack. First it was Corey Bennett, denied there by Chris Shakes, and finally the halftime whistle sounds in Colorado Springs. A 3-pack of goals for Switchbacks.
Applause from the players to the crowd, but certainly from the crowd to the players. Applause even for Chris Shakes. He's made a ton of saves, and he's seen 3 fly past him as well. Shots on target, 5 for the home side, 0 for New Mexico United. Touches in the opposition box, 11 for the home side, just 1 for New Mexico United. A big job for Dennis Sanchez to do at halftime, and I expect that we'll see lots of changes in the second half for New Mexico United.
3 Switchbacks goals in a 14-minute span. The cannons are firing, and so is this Switchbacks attack. We'll head to break. We've reached the half here in Colorado Springs. 3-0 Switchbacks.
Tell me, are you ready?
The big man gets his first with Colorado Springs.
Sponsored by McDivitt Law Firm. When it comes to accuracy, the News 5 weather team has it.
Hey, watch this.
He's out!
Now that's accuracy.
News 5 meteorologist Alex O'Brien. When you want the most reliable forecasts, her accuracy makes all the difference.
This summer, it's time for some fresh air. Brave America's highest zip line or the world's scariest sky coaster. And ride all new clear floor gondolas. At a place for families, thrills, and adventures. Make memories that last a lifetime. Come for the bridge. Stay for the adventure. At Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
At KOAA News 5, the stories of our neighbors create connections, and those connections build our community. Around here, imaginations soar. Moments are captured. Strangers connect. Problems are solved. Lives are changed. Your voice is heard. Because together, we tell the story of us.
It's halftime in Colorado Springs, and Switchbacks lead it 3-0. Tonight's halftime is sponsored by Diversus Health. Tonight's honorary healthcare professional of the match is Luis Garcia. Thank you, Luis, for all you've done to help our community. For more on the Prinx Tires USL Cup, we head to Dan Lucas.
When Hartford Athletics' Adrian Deespace scored in the 83rd minute against Rhode Island FC, it began a furious finish to the 2025 USL Cup group stage finales. Deespace's goal kept Hartford alive in the race to advance in the competition as a wild card. Less than 10 minutes later in Detroit, Matt Sheldon capped Detroit City's 3-0 win over Westchester SC, taking that wild card away from Hartford. Minutes later in Kentucky, Louisville City's Jake Morris scored twice in added time to defeat Lexington SC 2-1. Louisville was now the owner of the wild card, but not for long. Back in Pawtucket, Hartford outlasted Rhode Island in a penalty kick shootout. Hartford Athletic reclaimed the wild card spot that 2 other clubs held for mere minutes. So how did we get here? Well, after 4 group stage matches, Hartford Athletic and Louisville City were tied with 9 points. The first tiebreaker, total goals. Hartford scored 9, Louisville had 8. And that wild card spot launched Hartford's run to the USL Cup title. This year's Cup promises even more drama. 42 clubs in the USL Championship and League One will form 7 groups filled out by region. Each club will play 4 group matches, and when the dust settles, the 7 group winners will advance along with 1 wild card team, not 2 wild cards like last year. The remaining 8 clubs will be drawn into 4 quarterfinal matches with 1 stipulation. The wild card cannot be drawn against its group winner. The 4 quarterfinal winners will then be drawn for the semifinal round, with the 2 finalists drawn to determine the host for the Prinx Tires USL Cup final.
We head back to break. When we return, halftime rolls on. Switchbacks on top, 3-0.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kind of everything.
Stay 3 nights this summer at Best Western and get $50 off a future stay.
Prinx tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines, from early mornings to late nights, from fun with friends to winner takes all, from the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinx tires will be there for the long haul.
This summer, it's time for some fresh air. Brave America's highest zip line or the world's scariest sky coaster, and ride all new clear floor gondolas at a place for families, thrills, and adventures. Make memories that last a lifetime. Come for the bridge. Stay for the adventure at Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
We've reached the 45-minute marker in Colorado Springs, and Switchbacks FC at the half, they lead it 3-0 over New Mexico United. This is the Prinx Tires USL Cup, and this is Group 2, a chance to look at our Group 2 standings during this break in play, and it shows us that Switchbacks, should this result hold, would surge ahead of El Paso Locomotive and New Mexico United. A couple of big fixtures coming up, but Colorado Springs right now, Gary, they look the part of the top team in this group.
They certainly do, and they have El Paso at home next match, so if they can deal with El Paso there, their final game, Orange County away, could all be over and done with by then. So looking fantastic at the moment, our Switchbacks.
El Paso Locomotive, New Mexico United, pulling up behind there. Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Our upcoming schedule around Group 2, Phoenix Rising and Orange County will clash at 10 Eastern time. That one kicking off just moments ago. And then later in May, AV Alta and El Paso Locomotive. AV Alta putting up a good fight against New Mexico United last time out in the group stage.
They did, just 2-1 to New Mexico there, so, but you would expect El Paso with their side at home. Of course, it depends on how many changes both or either side or both sides make. We've seen tonight a lot of changes, 14 in total. So let's see what happens between El Paso and AV Alta.
Getting closer to the second half kick here in Colorado Springs. We'll head back to break. It's halftime, presented by Diversis Health. For more on the USL, we go back to Dan Lucas.
It is halftime in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. We hope you enjoyed the first half. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with a look at some of the headlines for the week. Hartford Athletics' Adrian Dispe had quite the match in Week 10 against Detroit City. He recovered from an own goal to score the game-winning goal in a 2-1 win over Detroit. Dispe helped head coach Brendan Burke achieve his 100th win in the USL Championship. Chattanooga Red Wolves got back into the win column last weekend and added some history in the process. Matt Bentley scored 3 goals and assisted on another goal in a 4-1 win over Sarasota Paradise. Bentley is the 4th player in League One history to record a hat trick and an assist in a single match. In a span of 1 week since the opening of Ruoff Mortgage Stadium, Fort Wayne FC has won 2 matches and drawn another, and the play of Tag Healy has led the way. Healy has scored in all 3 of Fort Wayne's home matches and enters this week on a 4-game goal-scoring streak. He's already accomplished a lot at 22 years old, leading NC State to the NCAA College Cup final last year. In 2024, Healy was the MVP in the USL League Two final. Upcoming national TV broadcasts, all in the championship. Rhode Island and Brooklyn next Saturday. Sporting Jackson, San Antonio on the 27th. Then it's Louisville City and Tampa Bay Rowdies on the 30th. All three matches on CBS Sports Network. Well, the second half is getting closer. Let's get you back out to your match.
Tell me, are you ready?
The big man gets his first with Colorado Springs.
Sponsored by McDivitt Law Firm. When it comes to accuracy, the News 5 weather team has it.
Hey, check this out.
He's out!
Now that's accuracy.
News 5 meteorologist Alan Rose. When you want the most reliable morning forecast, his accuracy makes all the difference.
This summer, it's time for some fresh air. Brave America's highest zip line or the world's scariest sky coaster. And ride all new clear floor gondolas. At a place for families, thrills, and adventures. Make memories that last a lifetime. Come for the bridge. Stay for the adventure. At Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
When it comes to accuracy, the News 5 weather team has it.
Hey, watch this.
He's out!
Now that's accuracy.
News 5 meteorologist Alex O'Brien. When you want the most reliable forecasts, her accuracy makes all the difference.
Prinx Tires is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Built for practical performance in the long haul, Prinx delivers reliability for everyday drivers like you. Visit PrinxTireUSA.com to learn more. It's the half in Colorado Springs, and there was plenty of action. Let's get you caught up with our halftime highlights. And Gary, it's been all about the transition game for Colorado.
Tyreek McGee gets it going to Jonas Fjellberg. He's got his head up and puts a fantastic ball in. Kip Keller knows there's a couple of players waiting. He tries to cut it off, and hence the own goal. It all comes from pressure from this ball from Jonas Fjellberg.
Fjellberg getting the own goal against Keller. He would later score, but first it would be Colorado Springs adding another.
Well, Fjellberg puts that ball through to Oscar Hanya. He's got enough pace just to get away from Kip Keller and then absolutely thumps the ball. But again, credit Fjellberg involved in this, but the finish is just fantastic from Yosuke Hanya.
Hanya stirring the pot offensively, and then just before the half, it would be Jonas Fjellberg finally getting his goal.
He does. Tyreek McGee, who else gets the shot? Chris Shakes does well, pushes it away from danger, but then Fjellberg just buries it in the top of the goal. It's a really good finish from a tight angle. But Tyreek McGee from the edge of the box has been so dangerous with his shooting, and poor Chris Shakes has made a ton of saves and has still conceded 3 goals in the first half alone.
4 saves to be exact for Chris Shakes as we enter the second half. Both teams out of the halftime dressing room. Abdul Njai has them ready to go. There is the whistle from Njai, and we are back underway for the second 45 minutes. A 3-goal deficit for New Mexico United to try to climb out of here inside Widener Field, along with Gary Bailey, Jake Griffith. Glad you're with us for what's been a real fun contest, despite, I'm not sure New Mexico United might say that coming out of the half, staring down a 3-goal deficit. However,
no, they wouldn't. It
has been a very eventful and a very fun contest as Colin Shuttler will come out to distribute this one away.
It's been fun to watch for a neutral, put it that way. For New Mexico, it's not been a good first half by their very high standards. They know that. They would have got a bit of a tongue lashing there from Dennis Sanchez at halftime, and He's probably got a bunch of subs ready to come on. Look, getting a little bit physical as well. He's got them riled up, Dennis Sanchez. He has to. He's got to go out there and earn some credit back after coming in 3-0 down. But I do expect if he doesn't get much response from this current New Mexico side, that Dennis Sanchez will make a few changes within the next 10 minutes or so.
Rocha had gone down for Colorado Springs, looking for a helping hand to get back to his feet.
He's been in the wars. He's been pushed over twice by Chris Shakes at corners. He's been hit. He's got a couple of free kicks given against him, but he's a real battler there, is Aidan Rocha.
Something tells me an ice bath might be in his future. Might be in the future for a lot of guys, considering the physical level of play we've seen, and that level continuing.
Yeah.
Nico Hämäläinen, he backtracks after exchanging some words with Brennan Creek.
He's just holding his shirt there. It's very clear, the hold. And then they're asking for a yellow card for that, and they get in each other's face, and there's a bit of a shove there, which you're not really meant to do. See, I think he was getting the yellow card anyway, Hämäläinen. He just confirmed it. But I sense this match could get even chippier, because New Mexico, they will not take kindly to being 3-0 down, and they're going to want to fight back.
A yellow card's been issued to Nico Hämäläinen for New Mexico United. That caution sponsored by Diversus Health. Mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Whipped in toward goal at the restart. And that was an underlined free kick that Colorado Springs Switchbacks just took, looking for the second ball back in. Anya able to nod that one along, whipping it all the way back down. McGee won't catch up to it. And that is where Chris Shakes will put this one back into play. Gary, when you're a player and you're down 3-0, yes, we are a couple minutes into this second half, but how crucial are these first 5-10 minutes if you're New Mexico United?
They're crucial. I think every minute's going to be crucial in the second half, because you've got the very difficult situation of having to push forward. You can see now they're getting yellow shirts forward and trying to press. But at the same time, you can't leave yourself vulnerable to a fourth or a fifth goal, because that starts to get embarrassing. So the longer the game goes, the more likely they are to throw numbers forward in New Mexico. But if they get one back, it might just spark a revival amongst this New Mexico United side. There's such a good team, good manager, and they've got depth on the bench. One goal will just fire things up.
Creek able to move that ball out of a crowd. Now on to Hanya on the right, turned away. Possession lives here for Colorado Springs. Funneled back down by Rocha. On the turn, the shot blocked out. It will be a Switchbacks corner. Switchbacks had a flurry of corners in a handful of minutes in the first half. This corner kick brought to you by McDivitt Law Firm. McDivitt is in your corner. Switchbacks back in the corner flag. McGee swings it in low toward goal, skipping around, and there is a whistle. Enter the Prinx Tires USL Cup Game Day Kit Sweepstakes for your chance to win a prize pack worth up to $2,000. Scan the QR code on your screen and enter today. You gonna scan the QR code, Gary? Try to win a prize pack here?
Why not?
Under some duress, New Mexico United able to steer clear of it. Forward they go to Vargas.
They have to do so much better than the first half, New Mexico. Not a single shot on target. One touch in the opposition box to Colorado Springs' 11. And yet they got into the final third enough times, New Mexico. They just couldn't get into the box. They need to do a lot better in the second half.
A turnover. Here's Matusla leading the charge, trying to lay it off in behind to Bennett. Going one-on-one there with Kip Keller, who muscles him away from the ball.
Expected goals 0.62 for Colorado Springs. Well, if you get 3 goals from 0.62, which is just over half a goal, that means you've had a very, very good time in front of goals. But for New Mexico, 0.09, which basically means they haven't created anything in that first half. But that first half is history. Now the only question is, what can they do? Oh, and they give a ball away, which is not going to help. What can they do in the second half to get things going?
Just like that, New Mexico United cough it up in Colorado Springs. Deep in toward the final third is where they will have this throw. Lacroix will toss it in. Former Penn Quaker collegiately. Now Williams, they'll defer to him as he backs up for the long throw in. We see so much of this now in soccer at all levels. It's like an additional set piece. They've already scored once off a long throw this year. The toss in, cutted well defensively there by New Mexico United. Black and yellow there of New Mexico trying to muscle their way through. Nava couldn't hang on to it, and it's whipped back down and ultimately drilled clear once more. You go back to that last meeting between these teams, and one thing that New Mexico United had in that contest, they had good, speedy wing play via direct initiation. They were able to find those line-breaking balls. They just haven't been able to find that so far in this contest. It's been a real struggle to even get it across the halfway line into the attacking half.
Well, two of those players who scored on that day were Jabang and Valentin Noel, both from the bench. So you do get the sense that if things don't improve in the next 10 minutes, if you're Dennis Sanchez, either you leave the current players on and say, look, the game's over, here's your chance to have a good run out, just show me what you can do, or you start bringing on some of the big hitters from the bench and say, turn this game around for me.
That'll be a whistle for a foul. Reaching into his pocket for a yellow and putting Sofian Jafal into the book as our center referee.
Yeah, frustration from New Mexico United. And you're a professional. I mean, that's just blatant. It's not even clever. It's just angry, frustrated. You've got a chance. Jafal only had one appearance so far this season. Now his second appearance. Wants it to be better than being on the losing side against Colorado Springs.
That yellow card issued to Sofian Jafal for New Mexico United. That caution sponsored by Diversus Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Keller will head that one down and out of play. It will be a throw in for New Mexico United. They had a very brief stretch. Rather, it will be a free kick for New Mexico United. They had a very brief stretch, New Mexico United did, early on in the season where they missed Kip Keller for a handful of contests. You could tell they lacked a little bit of that stability when he was out of the lineup on the back line. He's a guy that I remember chatting with his former coach, Jeremy Hall, who is now with the United States men's national team as their U19 coach. And he had talked about when they brought Kip Keller into Minnesota United a season ago, and just the respect he immediately commands in the locker room. He's a guy that he's been around, spent time with Austin FC, spent some time on the roster for St. Louis FC, the now defunct USL Championship side. And Jeremy Hall just talked so much about his ability to just command respect and also organize the team on that back line. He's trying to keep them organized today. He does have the own goal against, though, as Keller will carry this one forward. There's a whistle for a stoppage from Abdu Njai. The offside flag came up. Our center referee, at times, he's had his hands a little bit full with some of the physicality, the cards that have been handed out.
I think he's going to have his hands full before this match is finished, because as it goes on, frustrations could get worse for New Mexico if they concede or if they score, and it goes the other way. They'll be fighting with everything to try and get back in the match. So either way, I expect a few more yellow cards to come out from referee Abdu Njai.
Shakes gives it up to Keller. But now the real work beginning again here for New Mexico United. This press of Colorado Springs, they have been able to pin New Mexico back so often, and now they're back on it again. Switchbacks asking more questions. It's Hanya helped along into the path of McGee. Now on to Lacroix. Dances past one. Lacroix funneled back wide. Here's Creek. Trying to put the moves on and does. Flashes this back post, and it will bounce out of play. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XMFC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XMFC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Hey, our friends Mike Watts and Devin Kerr, USL All Access, always can't miss stuff.
They are fantastic. What they come up with every week is definitely worth listening to.
Cut back inside and intercepted. You're right, though. They always have fantastic interview subjects on there. If you're always looking to learn something new about USL Championship, USL League One, tune into that. It was just a couple weeks ago they had One Knox was one of the featured guests after their momentous cup set over DC United. Played through the Central Channel now on the turn here. It's Renix. Looking for that layoff back wide, trying to find Nava, and quickly canceling that out is Switchbacks. Their offense, we've given them a lot of love tonight, and rightfully so. 3 goals put on the board. But when in that low block defensively, they've congested so much for New Mexico United. Yes, New Mexico United haven't been able to get there a whole lot, but when they have, there's just no room to move.
It's been a very good match for Colorado Springs. I mean, you can't fault them, and you struggle to find the positives for New Mexico United, but they still have time here to turn it around, New Mexico United, even if, and we were often in the situation where, you know, you're losing at half-time and the coach would say, well, just try and go and win the second half. At least get something positive so you can leave here with your head held high. Right now for New Mexico, if they scored 1, even if they scored 2, at least it look as if they've made a real fight of this match and take something back home with them.
Vargas was trying to lead the way back in and find Harris. Telegraphed pass cleared out of play. And it will be a throw in for Colorado Springs Switchbacks, who they are back in action coming up on the 23rd of May, although in USL Championship play, not in Prinx Tires Cup play, is Hanya able to win a whistle. They get back-to-back road contests at Las Vegas Lights and at Oakland Roots. Vegas has had a tough start to the season. However, going on the road and playing at Las Vegas, never an easy task. And then to follow that up with going to the Coliseum and playing Oakland Roots, who have had a great start to 2026. A pair of difficult contests coming up for Alan McCann's team.
There seems to be some movement on the sideline for New Mexico, and as we thought, around about the 60th minute, they're going to make changes. They've given some of the players 15 minutes to see if they can impact this game. They haven't done yet. And bring on fresh blood and a fresh approach and see if that can get 1 goal back for New Mexico.
New Mexico United, they will bring fresh legs on. These substitutions brought to you by All Copy, official office technology partner of the Switchbacks. Jafal and Gloucester, their evening is done. Charging on is Jake LaCava, and he will be joined by Usman Jabang.
I don't think that's the last of the subs we've seen for New Mexico United. They still have some more big hitters on the bench. Valentin Noel, Niall Reed-Stevens, Greg Hurst. Perhaps we might see them, especially if 1 goal scored. They might throw them on in an attempt to get a result here tonight.
The aforementioned Jake LaCava, acquired in the offseason from San Antonio, as it's Colorado Springs knocking on the door again. Switched his position around, this New Mexico United coaching staff has. Traditionally played up on the wing. They're playing him at right back now, trying to get a bit of a different look for him. Dennis Sanchez said, when we asked him about that this week, that he's a firm believer in, hey, I'm just going to get my best players on the field no matter what I have to do. Meanwhile, Williams with the long throw in again. Pinballing around, that is where Shakes will make the grab. There is 17 in yellow there at the bottom of the screen. They'll move it over to him. Both he and Ousmane Jabang, they were key. When they were able to link up against El Paso, that's when New Mexico United were at their most dangerous last match week in USL Championship play. I'll have him sit deep at times when they build. Ball ahead, able to find Harris. Harris stutters. Now Harris looking for that toward the near post, and Shuttler will close it off. We get another whistle.
Is that Aiden Rocha again? He's been battered and pushed around and tripped and everything this match. I think he's just fed up with it. Yellow card has eventually come out. Got to be careful here in New Mexico. I think it's their 4th player on a yellow card, so any misdemeanors from any of those players and suddenly they're off the pitch. I think it was maybe Christian Nava that picked up the yellow there to join Jafal, Hamalainen and Will Seymour.
Rocha is back to his feet, which prompted the stoppage. Meanwhile, Colorado Springs will use an opportunity for a triple change as Patrick Berner, Frank DeRoma, and Saddam Masareka from Maryland Terrapin will come on. Those substitutions brought to you by All Copy, office technology partner to the Switchbacks. First 3 changes made by Alan McCann. An important one in Frank DeRoma coming on, who he's really shined as the 6 in this formation throughout the year for Switchbacks FC. Just a few minutes ago when Aiden Rocha went down, there was a yellow that was handed out to Christian Nava for New Mexico United. That caution sponsored by Diversus Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Dennis Sanchez, he's not going to take a moment to breathe. His team pinned back deep right now. And they've had some issues in terms of rest defense, stymieing the counter-attacking ability of New Mexico, rather of Colorado Springs so far tonight. Able to find LaCava now, looking for the give and go. LaCava streaking on this right side, looking to lead the way in, and there is Colin Shuttler.
So important for Colin Shuttler to have a good game here today. He was brought in essentially to be the #1, but Christian Herrera has been playing so well, making fantastic saves, dealing with aerial balls where they feel he's probably slightly better than Colin Shuttler at crosses. And so Shuttler's been shut out effectively by Christian Herrera. And he was the regular at Orange County the last couple of seasons. So a real battle ahead for Colin Shuttler to get that #1 spot at Colorado Springs.
Sunbelt Rentals, local hustle, national muscle. Shuttler did get the nod in the 1-0 win against Phoenix Rising in the first round of Colorado Springs Prinx Tires Cup journey, as Suke Hanya shown a whistle, 2 saves and a clean sheet for the former Virginia Cavalier. Ousmane Jabang, the former CF Montreal draft pick, puts it back into play, and we are back underway. On the turn now, Vargas whipping it out wide in too early, is Dayon Harris, and the offside flag will come up.
Just not getting it quite right, are they? New Mexico United have been caught offside a number of times when they could look down the line and make a better decision. It just hasn't been their day so far. Nothing they've done has really worked out at all, and the stats don't make for pretty reading either. So sometimes it just happens like that everything goes against you, but they're still sitting an expected goal of 0.09, which basically, again, means not much they've done. Only 2 touches in the opposition box, whereas Colorado Springs have had 19. Just gives you a sense of how on top and dangerous Switchbacks have been compared to New Mexico.
Danger territory here. Shakes has to move with it. Could feel those footsteps crashing in on him. Now swung forward, looking to find Harris on the move, and they do. Good recovery, though, defensively by Hanya, and it ends up being a whistle against Harris and New Mexico United, who ready 2 more changes. Valentin Noel, Niall Reed-Stephen will both come on. Substitutions brought to you by All Copy, official office technology partner to the Switchbacks. And these are 2 of the players that we talked a lot about in the first half as being, when will they bring them on? Why do we say that? Because they transform the profile of this New Mexico attack. Valentin Noel, in his 2nd season with New Mexico United, has 2 goal contributions in this contest. The Prinx Tires USL Cup. Now Reed-Stephen up to 3 goals already in 2026. Meanwhile, that's LaCava wheeling around, trying to pick out that far corner and missing high. eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now.
Problem for New Mexico now, just over 20 minutes left. That clock is ticking. Even if they get 1, have they got enough time to get 2 more, at least to get to a draw in a penalty shootout? They're going to have to take a few risks, throw some numbers forward. Oh, and maybe get a couple of turnover balls like that.
Who else? It was Niall Reed-Stephen touching up on it at first. This was an area that Alan McCann felt like this Switchbacks team were poor in the last time they faced New Mexico. Said we didn't engage the press in the proper moments. It allowed them to turn us over in our defensive half. Now Keller on it. Switches things out wide and finds Valentin Noel. The lift in, nodded away by Switchbacks. A mess of bodies tangling up. Players all hitting the deck. Corey Bennett, he's down. Kip Keller also down, and Kip Keller hobbled a bit after popping back to his feet. Well, that whistle goes against New Mexico United. Now that they have guys like a Reed-Stephen, they have a Valentin Noel and Usman Jabang, you're starting to see them get set up again into a similar profile we saw against El Paso, coming out in that final third setup with the 2-3-2-3, allows a guy like Jake LaCava to have more freedom to roam around that final third. You can also see a little bit more confidence from this New Mexico team as they're starting to inch numbers up a little bit more. That was something that Colorado Springs did so well in the first half. They took the teeth out of the New Mexico press, and now long ball ahead, worked over to Patrick Berner, but the flag is up for offside.
I think besides the changes that New Mexico United have made, which are all very positive ones, the fact you're 3-0 up with 20 minutes to go, you're more likely to start sitting back and protecting that lead. Yes, you want to push forward and you want to high press when you can, but as the clock gets closer and closer to that 90-minute, the chances are that Colorado Springs will defend a little bit more deeper and try and hold on to that lead.
Booted away by Shuttler. Clear of any danger. Patrick Burner will have the throw, former North Carolina FC fullback coming over in the offseason. And ultimately, Switchbacks will play it back to the feet of Colin Shuttler. So far in the second half, only 3 total shots have been taken. New Mexico United, they have enjoyed a slightly higher share of possession, 55-45. Some of the same issues persisting that we saw from New Mexico United in the first 45 minutes. Majority of their passes have been completed on this end of things. They're just not getting in to the attacking half. Kip Keller will carry it along, trying to change that. Keller seeking a whistle, not going to get it.
I thought he was a bit unlucky there, Kip Keller, because he got past the defender who just shouldered him off the ball. So I thought it was worthy of a free kick, but just not going their way. Oh, trouble.
Soreka able to split 2, couldn't beat that final defender in Valentin Noel, former ACC Offensive Player of the Year during his time at Pitt under Jay Vidovich, who has his own ties to USL competitions, helped found the Portland Timbers 2 side that exists within the Portland Timbers organization. I thought it was funny, I joked with Dennis Sanchez, yeah, I remember covering Valentin Noel in college. I feel so old. And he said, hey, how do you think I feel?
Well, how do you think I feel?
Hanya able to spring Switchbacks free again and play that one into space. Here's Arocha. Got it out wide. Williams tries to put it in front. It's deflected out, and it will be a corner for Colorado Springs Switchbacks.
That's so good by Colorado Springs. You're 3-0 up, you nutmeg as well from Hanya. You could be sitting back, just holding on to that 3-0 lead, which I would almost half expect, but they're not. They still try and bomb forward, create problems, got New Mexico under all sorts of pressure here.
This corner kick brought to you by McDivitt Law Firm. McDivitt is in your corner. Out-swinging ball, whipped all the way to the other side of the 18. Creek tried to head it back along. And now it's worked back into the path of Creek. Second ball, served in. It's a dangerous probing pass back in. Now DeRoma will reset things. Trying to drive that across the face of goal. Keller able to clear the lines for New Mexico United. Takes a hop off the turf, deflects off the hand of Renix. Contest carrying on to the final whistle inside the final 15 minutes, and more changes being made. Yosuke Hanya will get a hug from his manager and a standing ovation from the fans here inside Widener Field, and for good reason. Flying around out there. That substitution brought to you by All Copy, Office Technology partner to the Switchbacks. Corey Bennett, his night is done as well. Juan Tejada will come on. Kisa Kingi coming on to spell the aforementioned Yosuke Hanya. And meanwhile, Malik Howell on in place of Kip Keller for New Mexico United.
It's wonderful when you've had a game like that, 3-0, the crowd are cheering, the manager's hugging you, everyone's happy. It's a sort of perfect day if you're a Colorado Springs Switchbacks player. It's the worst possible day if you're New Mexico and you're looking at the scoreline and you really haven't threatened their goal at all this entire match.
Sunbelt Rentals, local hustle, national muscle. Gonna create a pocket of space there as New Mexico United had Vargas dropping in. Some issues though progressing forward. And now tripped up. Will Seymour able to earn a whistle for New Mexico United. The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings.
I was just going to that moment when Yosuke Hanya came off and the crowd were applauding. For me, probably the man of the match in terms of what he put in, the way he pressurized New Mexico United, the goal that he took, the involvement that he had throughout the match. Just thought it was a magnificent performance from Yosuke Hanya. And delighted that he got that wonderful response from the crowd and from his coach.
One of the local outlets here in the state of Colorado that covers professional soccer, the Burgundy Wave. They had such a great feature story on Hanya a couple weeks ago, talking about his time in the Colorado Rapids organization, his eventual journey here to Colorado Springs Switchbacks. And he had said when arriving that, yes, he loved his time in Colorado Rapids organization, but joining Switchbacks almost felt like it rejuvenated him a bit. Paraphrasing, of course. And you're right, it's so great to see the return that the fans have given him. It's very obvious the way he speaks about Colorado Springs, that he loves it here. And hearing his coach, seeing the fan response, they love him just as equally. Quickly restarted here by New Mexico United. They'll flash this one ahead. It's Reed Stephen. They swing past one of those final two defenders, but couldn't beat the second in Patrick Berner, whose ball clearance forward took an awkward deflection. Here's Aiden Rocha. And we joked earlier that he's been the recipient of a couple heavy challenges, right? He's spent his fair share down on this turf surface, but you have to give him credit. We're coming up on the 80th minute. He is still out there. Flicked on over the top and behind Masareka, trying to pick out the far corner, and instead misses whiskers wide.
What a fantastic ball in, and what a great strike from Masareka. Berner just puts it over the top. Masareka one bounce and hits it, and it's not far away from going into that far corner. On the volley, absolutely whacks it, and maybe just a foot wide of that far post. What a good move.
Alan McCann, I remember talking to Alan McCann a few weeks ago, and he brought up Saddam Masareka as really being one of their most consistent players to start the season. Said he's a natural creator. They had him in the organization during his time in college at Maryland the summer prior to his senior year. And McCann said the thing he loves the most about him is he's willing to take risks. You get these younger guys in there that they just don't know any better, right? They're not the veteran, the savvy vet. They're willing to make that mistake. And Alan McCann, he loves that mentality from a player. Inside the final 10 minutes plus stoppage time here of this contest in Colorado Springs. They have controlled this from the opening whistle on. It took some time to find that opening goal, about a half hour. And then they put up a flurry of offense. Goals in the 31st, the 34th, and the 45th. As Shuttler steps up into space. Diagonal ball ahead, able to find Tejada, who rolls it forward into the path of Masareka. Saddam Masareka shifts to the end line, plays it in front, it's tapped in! Switchbacks brought the big guns out, and Aiden Rocha makes it 4 on the night for Colorado Springs.
What a good move that was, absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Masareka, just the way he gets into the box, loses his defender, sets that up for Aiden Rocha, who certainly deserves everything he's got tonight. But have a look, Masareka is going to get in the box. He goes one way, and a little step just buys him a yard or two. And Aiden Rocha has made a fantastic run to the near post. Now watch, one way, boom, and then the other. And he's got that yard on the defender. And then he can just set up that near post run for Aiden Rocha. And if any player deserves great credit, it is Rocha for all the knocks he's taken, the fighting he's been doing. What a good victory this is turning out to be for Colorado Springs Switchbacks.
Clinical and comprehensive. Everyone getting on the action, even Ziggy the Mountain Goat. That Switchbacks FC goal presented by Gold Hill. Gold Hill, the best address. This attack for Colorado Springs Switchbacks, they've struck gold tonight against New Mexico United. Just can't stop scoring. 4 goals coming from 3 different goal scorers, the 4th being an own goal.
And it's almost the opposite for New Mexico. They can't even get into the box of Colorado Springs. Maybe now they can.
Renix trying to play it centrally. He's looking for Vargas again.
They've still only got 2 touches in Colorado Springs 18-yard box the entire match. They don't have a single shot on target. The expected goal is 0.11, which is virtually next to nothing. So they just haven't been an offensive force at all. And that's going to frustrate Dennis Sanchez, because he's a coach who demands success, demands his team is on the front foot, controlling games. And they've just been absolutely ineffective as an attacking force, which is so unlike them. Maybe just a really bad day at the office today for New Mexico United.
Tejada was able to run onto that one, couldn't connect with Masareka, who set up the most recent goal. The one quote that I took away from my conversation with Alan McCann a few weeks ago when Masareka got brought up was he called him just a natural creator, and we saw it on display on that previous goal. Just brings a little extra something to Switchbacks when he's on the field. You go back to New Mexico United, though, and you're right, they just have not had that game-breaking ability to create some offense tonight. Dennis Sanchez and company are going to walk away frustrated. You reflect back on their match against El Paso, and one of the things that did bolster their day at the office offensively was when they had Niall Reed-Steven out there, he was able, as the offside flag will come up, he was able to stretch that back line out of El Paso because of the respect that he commands. He was able to get El Paso's double pivot all out of whack. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, they respect, obviously, the quality that Niall Reed-Stevens brings, but they're not allowing their entire defensive unit to be drawn in by just one player. They are maintaining their spacing and keeping those lines tight. There was a yellow that was handed out. Aiden Rocha shown yellow for Colorado Springs. That caution brought to you by Diversis Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe.
He just kicked the ball away after the referee had blown the whistle, so it was for time wasting he was given that. Well, we can let him off. He's had a fantastic game, got his goal, battled, scrapped, done everything that you could wish for a player to do. It's getting back to New Mexico. Look at their last 3 games. 3 goals against Las Vegas, 2 against El Paso, although both from Greg Hurst, who hasn't featured in this match, 2 against AV Altus. They've been scoring goals. Just tonight, they haven't even come close to creating one. That's been a real surprise. But perhaps you've got to credit Switchbacks and say they put them under pressure. They were at them from the beginning. They forced them back into defensive structures, and they just haven't given them the opportunity to create anything. And that's maybe something they'll have to look at in detail, Dennis Sanchez, and try and figure out if that happens again, what could they do different?
Even once we were well into the first half, as Switchbacks will have the throw, they still had that moment of understanding where spacing and positioning was going to be, considering the amount of changes they made. As another yellow handed out from Njai. Garvin Matusala going into the book for Colorado Springs. That caution sponsored by Diversis Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. And then, even as they were still trying to figure themselves out because of the changes, then they get punched in the mouth. Bang, bang, right back to back, 31st minute, 34th minute. And you could tell from that moment on, there was that level of they were reeling just a bit. So to your point, a real credit does go to Colorado Springs Switchbacks, not just defensively, but the way they were able to attack their chances offensively.
Look, 8 changes is a lot, but Colorado had 6.
Right.
So, and they managed it perfectly well. So, yeah, it can be a little bit of an excuse. Another yellow card coming up here. They really are racking them up here in New Mexico.
They're getting their money's worth. It'll be Marlon Vargas shown yellow for New Mexico United. This caution sponsored by Diversis Health. Mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Considering the amount of yellow cards that we've seen, I hope everyone tuning in has been taking a moment to breathe. I have had ample opportunities to remind you. On the underlap, Tejada racing ahead. Tejada, still Tejada, stopped.
Just wonder if he could have squared that ball. It's at a very tight angle. Yeah, it's 4-0, so it doesn't really matter, but you've got teammates who have run so hard to get in the box. You don't have an angle to beat the goalkeeper. Just try and find a teammate, square it to them. Instead, he goes on his own, but he gets a corner out of it, so there's something for the Switchbacks.
Williams will make the trot over to that far corner for this corner kick brought to you by McDivitt Law. McDivitt is in your corner. Sam Williams, he's been in that corner a whole lot tonight for Colorado Springs Switchbacks. This already the 5th corner of the night. He'll just roll it back into play. But Abdu Njai wasn't ready for it quite yet.
He's still lecturing everyone who's trying to push the goalkeeper. So the striker's trying to get in front of him, defenders pushing, and he's having a word with everyone. Just wonder if the Referees Association, FIFA, are going to change this rule in the box, not allow too many strikers in. You hear more and more people say, just allow 2 strikers, no more, and they can't block the keeper. Because right now, it's just a fight. Every single corner, someone's on the keeper getting in their way. Still is at the moment. Have a look. So who's on Chris Shakes? They're getting in his way.
Officially 3 minutes of stoppage time, which is presented by TikTok Shop. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, a 2-2-4 start to USL Championship play. They're currently in 8th place in the Western Conference table with 10 points. But you take the totality of their resume so far, a 5-2-6 record, all competitions. They're going to run that mark to 6-2-6 all comps with a win tonight. A lot to be excited about going forward if you're Alan McCann's bunch.
Well, I think also for Dennis Sanchez, I think these are two very, very good teams when they have their full team out. Certainly Colorado Springs have a bit more depth perhaps, and they're really playing well after a wonderful April. And again, beating Sporting Kansas City 3-0 was a fantastic achievement. But New Mexico have quality as well.
This ball whipped in toward Tejada, trying to head it toward goal. And it will pop out of play. For New Mexico United, the offside flag did come up, but for New Mexico United, you're right, they do have plenty of offensive quality at their disposal. They'll be back in action in USL Cup play, where they'll take on Phoenix Rising June 6th. That Phoenix Rising side right now deadlocked with Orange County at the half, 1-1 in the other Group 2 contest.
By the way, New Mexico in the USL have Tampa Bay at home, and they are flying in the East, and then Charleston Battery at home. So they've got a couple of big matches to come back. But those are the sort of matches you want after a performance like this, which just really hasn't been their day. You want a couple of really tough games where you can show what you can achieve.
Headed down, trying to strike this off the volley, now turning, can't get a shot off. And if that doesn't just sum up the night offensively for New Mexico United.
Still sitting with 0 shots on target. As I always say, if you can't hit the target, you can't score. So this really hasn't been their night in terms of offensive effort. And one of those you might just have to take your lessons and move on and just forget about it as far as you're concerned for New Mexico. It might also see them effectively exit the tournament because they'd have to win both their next games and then still hope. So you wonder how they will face, how Dennis Sanchez will take on the next game, as to whether he will put out a full-strength team or not. Probably unlikely.
Mexico United, no rest for the weary. You mentioned it. They will take on Tampa Bay Rowdies, topping the Eastern Conference. Familiar face for Colorado Springs in that Tampa Bay Rowdies attack. Marco Micheletto with 2 goals. Last questions to be asked here. It's Jabang for New Mexico United. Got a touch off, couldn't get a shot off. There's a whistle, and there's another one. The full-time whistle, that being Colorado Springs Switchbacks. A huge win in the Prinx Tires Cup, 4-0 over New Mexico United.
The perfect day for Colorado Springs. They've just been fabulous from beginning to end. They've scored some wonderful goals. They've had great performances from the likes of Oscar Hanya. Fjellberg up front has been excellent. They really have been wonderful. Aiden Rocher as well, his aggressiveness, and it's a brilliant performance. Colin Shuttler hasn't had much to do, not a single shot on target for New Mexico. Yeah, learn what you can, forget about it, move on. There's other games to play, because this one wasn't their best day at the office.
There were plenty of massive moments in this contest, but tonight's critical moment of the match, presented by Common Spirit Health, Yosuke Hanya firing Switchbacks into the top netting.
What a finish, and what a good run. His pace is what gets him away from Kip Keller, but the power of the strike gives Chris Shakes no chance whatsoever.
And Yosuke Hanya, for those efforts, he is tonight's man of the match. The votes are in. The Groom Transportation man of the match. Groom Airport Shuttle, providing stress-free transportation between Colorado Springs and DIA. It is all a final inside Widener Field. Switchbacks feeling Rocky Mountain high at home. We'll head to break and return to break it all down.
Tell me, are you ready?
The big man gets his first with Colorado Springs.
Sponsored by McDivitt Law Firm.
At KOAA News 5, the stories of our neighbors create connections, and those connections build our community. Around here, imaginations soar. Moments are captured. Strangers connect. problems are solved. Lives are changed. Your voice is heard. Because together, we tell the story of us.
This summer, it's time for some fresh air. Brave America's highest zip line or the world's scariest sky coaster. And ride all new clear floor gondolas. At a place for families, thrills, and adventures. Make memories that last a lifetime. Come for the bridge. Stay for the adventure. At Royal Gorge Bridge and Park.
The final whistle has sounded, full time has been reached, and it's all smiles for Switchbacks at home. 4-0 the win over New Mexico United. Tonight's final score brought to you by Diversis Health. A 4-pack of goals to show you, and let's get you up to speed with our full-time highlights presented by McDivitt Law Firm. Started early and often, Gary, for Colorado Springs.
Tariq McGee, brilliant, just turns defense into attack. Fjellberg could see 2 black shirts, put in a dangerous ball. Kip Keller knows he has to try and cut it out and tries valiantly, but only ends up sticking in the back of his net, all because of the pressure brought about by the Switchbacks.
Things would start to avalanche after that 31st minute. In the 34th minute, Switchbacks would go up 2-0.
Lovely ball from Fjellberg, great pace from Yosuke Hanya, and he absolutely wallops that ball at the end to put them 2-0 up, and well deserved. They were just so good in transition on that counter attack.
12 minutes later, Jonas Fjellberg, well, he'd finally get the goal of his own.
Tariq McGee again, good shot. Chris Shakes puts it out of trouble, you think, but Fjellberg from a fairly tight angle sticks it above him in the back of the net, and you're quite right, gets what he deserves, and at 3-0, it pretty was match over at that stage.
But Colorado Springs Switchbacks, they'd add another for good measure.
Got this ball through here, and Mazareka's going to get into the box with a little bit of skill here and then go past his defender. Boom, one way the shoulder, the other, and a good little run at the near post from Aidan Rocha. And after all his fighting, his injuries, his battles, he actually gets himself a goal to make it 4-0 for the home side.
And that is where things would end in the 90th minute. As Aidan Rocha would get his goal, and as we look at our full-time stats presented by Diversis Health, Colorado Springs, pretty good night at the office. 4 goals on 9 shots on target, but they hold New Mexico United without a shot on target as well.
Not a shot on target, not a corner to talk about, nothing. The XG going forward, just .11 for New Mexico United. It really was a poor effort in terms of attack. They got done in defense as well. You might as well say it's a perfect day for Colorado Springs, bad day at the office for New Mexico. Move on to the next game and forget about it.
It was a day that started with offensive fireworks, and it ends with some fireworks in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs Switchbacks moves atop the Group 2 table. A huge win over rivals New Mexico United. For producer Emma Watson, the rest of our broadcast team, and my partner Gary Bailey, I'm Jake Griffith saying so long from Widener Field. Colorado Springs Switchbacks wins it.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.